Now, excuse me if I get kind of emotional during this this segment here. Get kind of heated during this segment here, and then we got 2 more segments until we get to the live chat with you guys, if there's anybody still in this this stream. So I want to preface this with saying, I love Disney. I love Kathleen Kennedy. I love Lucasfilm. I love Star Wars. That's never going to change. One of my dreams is to play a lead character in a Star Wars movie, specifically a Jedi or Sith, but play a lead character in a Star Wars movie. And that's never going to change. However, I am very frustrated with both Disney and Lucasfilm, because they released a featurette for The Rise of Skywalker, a new one, talking about family, and talking about how important family is to Star Wars, with the actors behind the scenes, and all that stuff. And I'll leave a link to it in the description down below if you want to check it out after you watch this episode. And on its own, it's a really touching, really nice featurette. It is. It was nice to see it. But there is one glaring thing that I don't know if they forgot to add it in there. I don't know if they did it on purpose. But the prequel trilogy is missing from that. There are no behind-the-scenes footage of the prequel trilogy actors having fun. There is no mention of the prequel trilogy in there at all, when we know that there is plenty of behind-the-scenes footage with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman all having fun together behind the scenes of the prequel trilogy. We know that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor were really like brothers and were really close while filming the prequel trilogy. And none of that was in there. None of that was in there. Which, one, as someone who grew up with the prequel trilogy, I like the original trilogy more, but someone who grew up with the prequel trilogy, someone who loves the prequel trilogy, and someone whose favorite character is Anakin Skywalker, who, I should explain, is the most important and the main Star Wars Skywalker saga character. Seeing that Disney and Lucasfilm so conveniently forgot to include them at all in this featurette is very frustrating. Now, maybe they're doing that on purpose, so we don't have them in our head, so maybe Anakin does appear in Rise of Skywalker and surprise us all, and we're like, no way, that's awesome. However, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. Which means that, at least right now, to me, it looks like Disney doesn't care about the prequel trilogy, and doesn't want us to be reminded about the prequel trilogy at all. And that is incredibly frustrating and incredibly scary, going into what they're marketing as the final Skywalker saga movie, the movie to wrap up 40 years of movies. And you can't do that properly without addressing and connecting to the prequel trilogy, right? You can't do that without properly addressing and connecting to the 3 movies that give backstory to the main Skywalker saga character, the character that Star Wars is all about. And the fact that they so conveniently forgot to include the prequel trilogy in this featurette tells me that that's not going to happen, that Anakin is not going to appear in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, that the only minor connection to the prequel trilogy will be Palpatine, which is even probably they're just trying to connect more back to Return of the Jedi, and the fact that Anakin and Luke killed him in Return of the Jedi, so he wants revenge for that, not even connecting back to the prequel trilogy, to me is just incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. Now look, if I wasn't as big of a prequel fan as I am, if I wasn't as big of an Anakin fan as I am, maybe it wouldn't impact me as much. If you're not a prequel fan, and if you're not an Anakin fan, let me know if this frustrates you at all, or if you just don't care. But as someone who loves the prequel trilogy, loves the Phantom Menace, I think Attack of the Clones is the most underrated movie of all time. Someone who Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie of all time. Anakin is my favorite character of all time. The fact that it seems like that none of those movies are going to connect to this movie. The fact that Anakin is not going to have some kind of pivotal role in finally defeating the Sith. The Chosen One. The Chosen One. The main character of the Star Wars Skywalker saga. Okay? Is not going to have a pivotal role in wrapping up his story. Is bonkers to me. It blows my mind. It does. Now, like I said, I love Disney. I always will. I love Captain Kennedy. I always will. I love Star Wars. I always will. Like I said, my biggest dream is to star in as a Jedi or Sith in a Star Wars movie. That'll always be my dream. I will never have bad blood against any of the people working at Star Wars or Disney or Lucasfilm right now. I won't. But man, is this infuriating as hell. And it'll probably only get worse after The Rise of Skywalker comes out, because then it'll be confirmed that, yep, Anakin's not in it. And Anakin, even though he's a chosen one, and even though he's the main character, nope, he's not going to wrap up his own story. Because who's getting who here? Star Wars is Anakin's story. George Lucas has said that on multiple occasions. Yeah, Luke was in the original trilogy. Yeah, Luke was the main focus of the original trilogy, sure. But that was only because he was the person to help Anakin be redeemed. Luke isn't the chosen one. Anakin is. There's no getting around that. Anakin, from George Lucas himself, is the main character. The prequel trilogy. 3 movies in Star Wars. 3. Not just one. It's not like you're just forgetting Solo or you're forgetting Rogue One, That's fine. 3 movies in the Skywalker saga. 3 movies, let I remind you, that many, a whole generation of people got introduced to Star Wars with. A whole generation of people. There are probably as many people who are introduced to Star Wars with the original trilogy than there is with the prequel trilogy. They're probably roughly the same amount. And the same can be said with the sequel trilogy. That would be like in 10 years, if they make a new trilogy, right? And they're saying that, or they're marketing it as, the characters you love, or connects to the stories of the past, and they just forget about the sequel trilogy. That would make no sense. It would make no sense not connect to the sequel trilogy. So it makes no sense not connect to the prequel trilogy. It just frustrates me so much. Now look, maybe we watch the movie, maybe we watch Rise of Skywalker, right? And it's a fantastic movie, and it works on its own fine without there being Anakin or the prequel trilogy in it. Will I still be a little hurt? Of course, because, like I said, Anakin is my favorite character of all time, so I'll have some bias towards that. But I'll get over it. Maybe you watch the movie, and maybe it connects heavily into the prequel trilogy, and Anakin is a pivotal role in this movie. In that case, that's fantastic. Man, is it frustrating right now. Before seeing The Rise of Skywalker, seeing that this movie probably isn't going to connect to the prequel trilogy at all, the fact that Anakin probably is not going to be in this movie, let alone Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is not only getting his own show soon, but is reprising the role with Ewan McGregor. Why would you not want to remind people of that? Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is one of the most fan-favorite characters of Star Wars. Regardless of how people feel about the prequel trilogy, the vast majority of people love Ewan as Obi-Wan. Why would you not want to capitalize on that? I don't understand. Like I said, maybe after we watch the movie, maybe after we watch Rise of Skywalker, we'll understand. And we'll think, you know what? if they did include Anakin or any prequel connection in there, then it wouldn't have flowed as good, or it wouldn't have been as good of a story. And, that's totally possible. That's totally possible. I'm leaving all of my pre-expectations at the door when I go see Rise of Skywalker. And that's completely possible. But as of right now, it's really frustrating. Anyway, I've gone on about that long enough. What do you think about it? Do you think it's fine that there's no prequel trilogy, or I should say probably no prequel trilogy or Anakin connection in The Rise of Skywalker? Or do you think, no, you're 100% right, this is frustrating? Let me know your thoughts.